Hello everyone, this is a playthrough of Castlevania 2 on Famicom Disc System, known in Japanese as Dracula 2 Noroi no fuuin, which means basically the curse's seal. So one of the fun features of the Famicom system is that we have pretty long load times as it's reading the disc. You also have to flip the disc several times throughout the game, depending on where you are and what side of the disc it's on. So one side of the disc holds the save games and system stuff, one side holds most of the game stuff, but because the game is a little bit bigger than most of the disc system games, some of the game scenes are actually on the save side, so we have to flip it over. But here we have the prologue in English, very well written, but it's pretty much the same as it was on the English version of Castlevania 2. So let's get it in here and make a character. My last playthrough is still here. I did it in 9 days, which gives you I think the medium ending. I'll probably end up with something similar this time. It's very hard to beat this game fast enough to get the best ending, even if you know exactly where you're going and what you're doing. So I'm just adding in some characters. This game doesn't make us do it in katakana, which is kind of cool, so we can just put in our English letters. And then once we have the name in, we can proceed. So as with all of my game translations, you can see that there's the katakana characters in brown, kanji characters in blue, hiragana characters in white, and then the various levels of translation. So because this game's all in katakana, I first put how it would be written in normal Japanese with the traditional characters, and then I add in the phonetic translation, and then I follow that up with the literal translation, and then if you look at the very bottom, that's the actual translation as I understand it. So I'm not a native Japanese speaker, so I do my best, and this is part of how I'm learning. So if you look at this guy, Machi-ni, so Machi has the kanji, and then ni is kind of like the subject thing, so usually Machi-ni means in town. And then here's another good one, the priest. It took me a long time to figure out that koto, chichito koto. So koto is commonly the word for thing, it's a very frequently used word, but in this particular case, koto is two separate words. Ko is in child, and to with. So Father with, Son with, Holy Spirit. Or the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost is what that technically means. So now I've got my white crystal. As the first guy said, I am ready to go. But let's just chat with other folks in town. Baroso no Machi, so that's one of the other towns, usually called Veros in English. There's no V in Japanese, so they tend to use a B as a replacement. Holy Flame 3 is 6 trees away in Dennis Woods. So one of the other nice things about this game, if you recall, is that a lot of the villagers actually lie or tell you misinformation. But even in that misinformation, they tell you something. So we know there's a sacred flame somewhere. Maybe it's not on top of a tree in Dennis Woods, but at least we can find it. The boatman loves garlic. Also not necessarily true from what I understand. Seisui, holy water. Migi, to the right. Hidari, to the left. And then we have the directions. Every town has their little sign that tells us what's in each direction. The town names and a lot of the names are actually kind of debated between things, because several of them don't actually have in-game references, and then the Japanese name and the English name can be quite different in some cases. So I'm not going to try too hard to make sure I'm matching anything in particular. I'm just going to go with my phonetic one unless it's something I know pretty well. So So I've spent all my hearts now on the white crystal, so I'm gonna go and grind a little, because there's a few more things in town to buy before I really go too far. The next scene will give me some things to do, and then perhaps night will fall, and then that makes it a lot quicker to gather hearts. Although I have to wait for morning before I can actually buy anything new. Alright, the nightfall certainly came quickly. So now all the monsters are going to double in their strength, so I'm going to have to hit them twice as many times to kill them. But they're leaving the half of a big heart instead of the little heart, so I get double the amount of money. And I think 3 times the amount of experience, if I recall. Hearts in this game are money and the ability to use weapons and their experience. So this does have a really rudimentary level up system. You get a couple extra life bars when you level up, and it gives you a life restorer in the middle of the game, which is unusual because otherwise you pretty much can only restore your life by going to the church. And every time you get a game over in this game, it counts, I believe, as an extra night. So if you're trying to get a really good ending, you really don't want to have that happen. The towns are excellent grinding places at night. They're full of these green zombies that just run around back and forth. They're super easy to kill, but they're worth half a big party, so I think each one of those is 4 hearts. You can just kind of go back and forth. If you find the right position where their respawn is, you can literally just walk back and forth like this and get a new one, so you don't even have to just walk back and forth all the way and get them. Sometimes it's a little tricky to figure out exactly where, because there's certain places where you get a spawn on both directions right there. Some places you only get one. But this one seems to be pretty good, so I'll hit it. There's a few where you actually get 2 at once, which is pretty neat as well. This town I don't know of any of those. Once I get my next whip, I'll also die in one hit, which makes it even easier. You sit here grinding by the church, so as soon as morning falls, I can go in and restore my life, and then proceed. Hopefully we'll have enough hearts by then to finish buying what I need. Speaking of whips, this first whip that I have is the Kawa no Muchi. So Kawa is leather, Muchi is whip, and then when you put no in between, it's kind of like using of. So leather of whip, or we might say whip of leather, but now we know that that's made of whatever the no substance is. So Kawa no Muchi, leather whip. And then we'll be able to get a bunch more whips upgrades as we move on. Nights can be a little tedious when you're just doing this grinding part, because for the most part of the game, it really doesn't matter if you're running around in the wilderness at night. The wanderers are a little tougher, but you get more parts. This game's actually very forgiving if you're not trying to get the good ending, because you die, you get game over, it pretty much just respawns you exactly where you were. So you don't have any big setbacks. You do lose all your hearts. And I can't remember, you might lose some garlic and laurel as well. And that's kind of sucky if that's true. But at least you get to keep moving forward, so it's not too big a deal. And here's the morning. So back to town, everybody's gonna wake up, they're not afraid anymore. I can go inside places again. And here we go, entering the church. Priest restores my life. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, of course. Now let's see what I got in terms of money and ability to buy out the rest of this town. Really, it's the Seisui Holy Water and the Thorn Whip that I need to move on. Ibara no Muchi. So, Ibara, thorns, no Muchi. So, thorns of whip. Unfortunately, I didn't get quite enough hearts to do that holy water plus that, and I really do need the holy water to keep moving. But you notice those wolf guys are now only a single hit to kill because I've doubled my attack power. So anything that was 2 hits is now 1. So just a little more grinding until I get my holy water, then we can move on. Alright, 30 hearts, need 20 more to go. Each one of these is worth 2, so basically I gotta pick up 10, and I'm good to go. So you may have noticed I was complaining about the long load times, and they're not that bad when you're looking at this video. I trimmed them down significantly, so I show where the please wait is, but I think I took away about 5/6 of it, so they're pretty reasonable just to make it easier to watch. Another quick note for tedious things like this, if you are trying to watch for specific translation... Oh, there's a level up, by the way. The video description will have an index of towns and the mansions, so you can skip forward to any specific thing that you wanted to see, just in case you're not that interested in watching me run around killing skeletons and collecting hearts. I think I got what I need, so back to town. And we're gonna go buy that holy water, and then I should have what I need to head to Veros, Aljiba, and the first mansion. And then once we've moved on there, we can keep going, but I think after the first 2 mansions, we pretty much have to head out to the east side. So this first part of the game, which is what I always consider the biggest one, and when I was a kid playing this game, I was stuck in forever before I could move on. That's just it. There's a little bit of a secret to accessing most of the mansions from after the first one. And if you aren't paying really close attention to what the townsfolk have to say, it'll be really, really hard to figure them out. Now we have night number 2. So I haven't even really left the first town yet, but already used up 2 of my days. Will I finish the entire rest of the game before another 6 or so days? Probably not, so I guess we'll be facing not best ending. That's fine though, all 3 of them are pretty similar and equally awkwardly written. This scene is oddly difficult for such an early part of the game. It's very, very difficult to get away from those guys. And they hit you and they knock you in the water and you just die. You basically can't hit them if they don't get them in the air. But they can hit you. You know, he's blow those little blocks away and take the lower road there and go through the swamps. But I'm not really sure why you would. And then here we have the first crossroads. Down we have the town of Veros, and straight ahead was the first mansion, which I believe is Barclay's mansion. I know I don't have enough money to get the stuff in Veros yet, so might as well just grind a little and take advantage of the night. And flub that jump into the poison swamp. Until I get laurels, there's not really much I can do about those. They just suck because they slow you down, they drain your life. I got out of it quick enough, but it kind of seems to remember how much exposure you had, because eventually it will knock it down, even if you don't stay in long enough individually. See, there we go. When you have the laurels on, it's nice because you can actually go full speed and everything. And laurels actually protect you from all damage, not just from the swamps. But you can't carry very many of them, at least not yet. And with that, we have morning again. So now that the monsters aren't worth as much in terms of hearts and all that, it's time to head down, see what I can buy. Eventually I shouldn't have to grind so much. After you get through these first few towns, you build up so many hearts going through mansions that it doesn't really matter unless you get a game over and lose them all. Alright, so basically this is saying Dracula's bone, or the Demon King, can become a shield. And if you recall, the whole point of this game is to go and collect all these body parts of Dracula so we can burn them in effigy and break the curse. So his bone is going to have a utility for me. And this guy's telling me I don't look good? And every village has a bunch of people telling me where I can find clues to Dracula's riddle, which basically every town and every mansion. Laurel smell good and soothe. Nice to know. I think I got a little bit confused over who's who on this. I know some of these are a little fast, but you can always pause them if you want to get a bit more detail. So you keep having guys telling me I need to meet a friend in some other town. Those are basically referring to the guys that are exchanging crystals. There's all these books around that you can get through throwing holy water at certain tiles. These are the clues that the townsfolk are all talking about. So basically this one's telling me that I need to use the white crystal to move forward in Barclay's manor. Without it, the road will not be open. Technically that's not true. We can actually move without it. We just can't see the little floating platforms that help you move. So it would be much more difficult. And clearly I did not get enough hearts, so I still can't buy stuff. But I guess I can just go to the side here and grind a little bit. Alright, I think I have enough now, so I can head back to town, get my next little upgrade. Not really sure 100% what the point is having all these merchants hidden way down in these places that we have to dig in. Just makes it take longer, but just make do, I guess. There we go, the chain whip. Or Kusari no Muchi. Kusari is chain, no Muchi. Muchi whip. Feels like a pretty short day for some reason, but back to the night. Guess we'll just kill some guys. That's what I was talking about, that you can get the doubles sometimes. They both drop a heart, it's 8 right there in one go. Just one more item to get in this town before we clear out. Throwing dagger. This game actually has 3 daggers. This first one just kind of hits something and poof. The second one flies right through them. I think the third one does something like lights them on fire or something. Daggers use hearts to throw, so I don't tend to use them much. Alright, and there's another level up. Added 4 more units to my life gauge. That will help with my resilience as I move on. Alright, and morning has fallen. Or risen, I guess? Maybe I should go to English school rather than trying to do these Japanese translations. Alright, dude, gimme, gimme, gimme. And with that, Veros is done. I could now go straight to mansion number 1, but I think what I'm going to do is loop around the underpass here, head over to Aljiba, get my little nicks and knacks over there, and then I'll head to mansion 1. Not really any whip upgrades or anything in Aljiba, but I'll do what I can. Nice little ambush there as I work my way through the cave. Notice a suspiciously empty area under this. Oh, and lo and behold, a secret path. And then a suspicious little extra bit of wall there. A ton of guys coming at me. Aha! If that's not a sacred flame, I don't know what is. Definitely not on top of the 6th tree in Dennis Woods. Thank you, super helpful, cowardly villager liar guy. Ah, these spiders are the worst. Can't say I like spiders the best of times, but if they're gonna hurl deadly webs at me, I'm not a fan. Another crossroads here. This upper road goes to Aljiba, and actually the cemetery and all points beyond, ultimately all the way to Dracula's castle. The road below takes me to the nice underground lake, where there is a minor secret for me to deal with, but only a little later. And we have the telltale entering a town wait screen. So I don't believe there's any whip upgrades or any cool weapons to buy in this town. There are, however, merchants that will sell me Nininiku, which is garlic. Garlic is kind of an interesting device in this game. It has two purposes. One we'll see shortly. Camilla Bochi, or Camilla Cemetery. Technically, you can move on past Camilla Cemetery if you walk this way, but that is the most brutally impossible jump ever. I was convinced for the longest time that it couldn't be done. I died so many times trying, but then eventually I got it. But you don't actually have to. Denora Flip. A super ore. That was a very difficult to translate little thing, so that's my best guess. I know in the English version it's a diamond, but I could find no relationship between the word for diamond and what was there, so super ore was the best I could come up with. Dracula's eyeball apparently has some utility for me as well as the rib. I wonder if all the parts do. Butsu, or special product. So apparently that garlic we bought earlier is a specialty of this town. But of course, it is now nighttime, so I'm not going to be buying anything until I get through that. So time to go and destroy some zombies back and forth until I have lots and lots of hearts, and until the morning comes. Another fun little feature of Aljiba is that there is no church here, so I will not be restoring my life here. If I want to do that, I have to go back to Veros or Alba. Or sorry, not Alba, Jova. Alba is on the other side of the Dead River. So that little hiccup in the music was a bit of a glitch in my recorder. It crapped out on me, but I did catch it right away, so I just had to pause it for a minute and reset it. So we didn't miss anything, just had to get the stream restarted. So, yay, technology. Now that morning is resumed, we can start shopping again. Already got the garlic. I think there's only one more merchant in town. What does this one sell? It's got the complicated entry where you have to really dig in. Yakeju laurels. Remember earlier I was saying the laurels are a nice invulnerability thing, so they're best for when you're trying to go through a poison swamp. But any other place that's really difficult, or you're worried about getting knocked back into a water or something, it can save the butt. Everybody here wants to tell me where those little books can be found. So, in the manors, and in the towns, and in the forests, they're all over the place. I wasn't sure now, the Gikeijus have been confirmed as protection from the poisonous swamps. The Dead River is waiting for somebody to remove its curse. I'm actually not totally sure if that's one of those clues that's a real one or a fake one. I don't think there's anywhere we're removing a curse in the river exactly, but we are able to maybe juice things a little bit, make it easier to get around. And here we go. We've got the blue crystal now. This guy really wanted the white one, I guess. So these are one who we keep getting referred to, I believe, as our friends. So this was my friend in Aljiba. But now that I have blue crystal, I am actually able to advance a little further. But the white one was good enough for the first mansion. So I think it's time to go there after one more little detour. Alright, the famous Camilla Cemetery. This is where we get to experience what one of the garlic purposes is. Drop it, and the stranger appears. And he has a silver knife for me, which is much nicer than the dagger, because it will actually just pass through enemies and take out a second one. The other nice thing about garlic is, let's say there was some annoying creature that was coming to get me. As soon as it touches the garlic, it's just going to keep getting hit until it dies. Alright, so now that we've got all that stuff done, pretty much the last thing to do here is to go to the first mansion. So instead of going through that detour in the cave where I go down through Veros, I'm going to take the overroute. And that is where the mansion lies. New territory this way. More of these bloody spiders. But I will kill them. An awful lot of poison swamp in this game. Castlevania is apparently not a place with very wholesome water. And it's nighttime yet again! The nighttime has absolutely no impact whatsoever on the mansions, so that's fine. So if I did not have a crystal equipped, that blue platform would be invisible, and this would pretty much be a dead end, unless I knew where the platform was. Because it does actually exist when you don't have the crystal, it's just, you kind of have to take a leap of faith and hope you get it. So as the first mansion, the layout of this one's pretty simple. Just get up to the top, go to the right, head back down. I think that gargoyle is the first thing that actually gives us a full big heart. Which is the most hearts you can get in a single thing in this game. I think it's 8 hearts worth? 5 experience points? Might be wrong though, I can't always remember. Maybe it's 6 and 4. Sneaky little hidden empty platform. There's a lot of see-through bricks that you can fall through. Or not see-through, but fall-throughable. There's an important fellow down there. All of Dracula's body parts are sealed in these orbs that can only be destroyed by just being hit with an oak stake. And every mansion just so happens to have a guy that sells them. And for whatever reason, Simon does not feel the urge to be prepared and just bring some. Yashinoki no Kui. Oak stake. You ever had Kashi cereal? That's in Japanese for oak. Brahm's mansion has something that will solve the river's curse, I guess. Kind of true, except that I'm not sure if that's the right mansion. Or it might be one of those things where the Japanese and English names are too different. I believe it's Rover Mansion, that's the one I know of that helps me with the river. So when you see the skeletons backing off, that's a good clue that there's a hole in the floor there. Here is the orb. Get the oak stake going. Boom! Alright. Abare bone. Rib bone. So with that, if I equip it, I now have a shield that will reflect those little fireballs or whatever that people are shooting at me. See if I can remember where that hole in the floor was. Nope. Maybe I will just give up on that hole in the floor and go underneath. like it would have saved me much to go up there anyway. And with that, the first mansion has been defeated. So I'm pretty much able to just go straight on to the second one now. Thought it might be wise of me to heal up before I hit in there. And I pass through a familiar route to get to the second mansion. Only accessible once one has the blue crystal. So you may recall, this is the road to Veros. I can't really heal until I'm finished with this night. I guess this is kind of how it gets you. You gotta waste all the time killing everything so you can get into the town, but it is what it is. And since I'm not gonna bother for the super good ending, since it's probably impossible anyway, because if I die, I lose the same thing as the knight. Might as well just heal up, not lose all my hearts. That was not great. And it looks like my hearts are maxed out, so no matter how many of these I kill, I won't get any more. I think I still get the experience though, so never a bad thing to level up. Alright, morning finally. Hit the church here, and then on to the next destination, which is actually not very far away. Takes a lot longer to heal up when I'm down with these levels and all this extra health bar. Alright, this area again. Gotta get through this swamp. So up and over, out of the cave, back towards Aljiba. That gets me every time. I know it's there, I know they're gonna be right there, and I can just shoot right away and get them, but never happens. Alright, now down this little road that we haven't taken yet, we're now able to make some progress down here. It's easy to get hearts when you don't need them. Very easy to just walk into this lake if you're not careful. But with the blue crystal active, and just with the Neil, we can actually make it so we can just go right through here. If I did not do the Neil first, that would have been just as deadly as any other water. And now we here have found mansion number 2, which I believe is the Rover Mansion, at least in the English version. The way through this one is not quite as straightforward as the first one. There are actually alternate routes you can take. Most of them kind of have this sort of clockwise pattern where you go up and over and down, at least roughly. So I'm gonna probably have to mess around a little bit. I think this one had some little trick to it. That seems to be a dead end. Ooh, almost bit it there. Right, a fake wall there. But the question is that the right way now or is that the way back? Can't quite remember. Try my clockwise route first. Little black things that are so easy to walk into and not even notice until they start moving. Oh yeah, these diabolical wall spikes. Gotta get it just right. Which was not that. Nor that. Yeah, you almost kind of gotta look like you're jumping into them. Way too many of these gargoyle things. Boom! And shot in the head. I believe that was my first death. I'm sure there will be many more to come. Not doing this because I'm a hotshot player by any means. That was dumb. Half my life gone already. This looked like I landed on the spikes. But it didn't let. Or it didn't let me get away with it, so I'll allow it. Stuck in the wall and it still got me. Okay, well that was not remarkable in a good way. Those guys are relentless. And here I am, right back where I just was. Looks like I should have just gone through there in the first place. Could have saved myself a lot of headache. Sneaky. Okay, well that was a pretty special fail. See if I can resist that very attractive water this time. My goodness. Well, at least we've got this guy. It's always very frustrating when you make it to the end and you don't have him yet, so you have to go and find him after. I think these mansions just do not look as lush and lavish as they should. If I was rich enough to have a big mansion, I probably wouldn't want to just have, like, a bunch of monsters and empty rooms and stairways with no furniture and anything that looks nice. All the hanging people and the vaults are always a good touch, too. Apparently this one has a lake on the roof. So this is giving me a little bit of a clue about garlic in the graveyards. We've seen some evidence that that's a real one. I guess the books technically are real. We have found the vault. Oak stake in, part revealed. Shinzo heart, also known as Kokoro. So we've heard about the ribs having use, we've heard about the eyeball having use. Heart does in fact have a use as well, though. Hoping there'd be a shortcut out of here down here. Most of them there seems to be, but I'm not seeing one there. Just double checking on the floor here. Haven't backtracked so much. Those guys are so annoying the way they're just a little unpredictable. Ooh, that was lucky. What was that kind of? At least once I got through that, there's a pretty express exit. Alright, and with that, mansion number 2 is behind us. So now I'm just going to make my way back up through the fake lake. And I'm going to head back all the way to Jova and over to the left of there where the dead river awaits. So the suckiest part in this scene is a lot easier now that I've got the rib as a shield, so these guys can just send their bolts wherever they want and jump on their way. I no longer have to worry about getting hit back into the water if I'm being careful. And then here's the morning, just in time as I'm making my way back to Jova. Take a quick little pit stop at the church. Alright, Dead River Ho. Those guys kind of suck too. They always just knock me back into town if I'm not careful. Alright, here's the first poison swamp that you cannot just jump over. So Laurels it is. With that, I have now made it to the banks of the Dead River. And here's Mr. Ferryman. He seems sketchy, but he'll take me somewhere good, so I guess I'll have to give him a try. Alright, now it's the famous town of Alba. Here's the first guy that looks like somebody useful. I think he's my friend in Aldra Town, if I recall how it was. So Alba, Aldra. So I now have the red crystal, which is the fanciest crystal in the game. I no longer need any new crystals. So the Dead River is now to the right, Zadam Woods to the left. But before before I go to Zadam Woods, I think I have some business back at the Dead River. But first of all, let's chat to this town of ladies. She's very friendly. Hoshi. It's kind of wish, I believe, is how that translates. It could also mean star. This one is so weird. I'm not sure why we get a silk bag from a duck, but I think even in the English version that's confirmed as part of what she says, so... Apparently there's a duck in the cemetery that's gonna give me a silk bag. What does a silk bag do? Good question. I do need more laurels since I used them all up in that swamp. Quite a tall town. At least it has a church. Headbutt Deborah Cliff to make a big hole. I remember that clue in the English game too. But like most of the clues, it's not 100% off the wall. Get it? Off the wall. But anyway, we'll get to that later. More garlic? Don't mind if I do. Tonight at 12 o'clock by the river. Sounds like a proposition. And this one's too busy to talk to me. Okay. And of course, it is nighttime yet again. Zombies are a little tougher now. Taking me 2 hits. These towns with lots of levels, there's also a weird thing where the zombies get more powerful as you go down. So on the ground, if they're taking 2 hits up here, they may take like 4 or 5 down there. I don't really need to test it here, though. I have business elsewhere. Ferryman will generously take me back to the Jova side of the river. Man, everything in night's taking 2 hits. Gonna need a new whip soon. Alright, now that Mr. Crane is back, I'm going to switch to Dracula's heart. And now he's less sketchy and he's just gonna show me where I need to go. So what's gonna happen now? Sounded different. Color of the sky is a little different. Where have I ended up? That's a question we'll answer in the next video, which should cover the second half of the game. Like, subscribe if you're enjoying what you see. Remember, you can feel free to use the video description to fast forward to anywhere you want to go. And see you next time.